नमस्कार मैडम। चेयरपर्सन मैडम की अगर अनुमति हो तो फिर सेशन को स्टार्ट किया जाए मैम। Welcome to our first annual conference of Heritage Society entitled Global Heritage Conclave, being organized by Siddharth University, Kapilvastu, in joint collaboration with CCRT and and Heritage Society. I welcome all our panelists, our speakers, and our distinguished chairperson in our today's afternoon session. This is the academic session 1 and parallel session 4, which is this section is based on intangible heritage and museum studies. We have a total list of 8 presenters. Some of them are online and some of them are offline. So hopefully we will have not more than 10 minutes for each presenter. Uh, May I now invite our first presenter, Ankita Pathak ji, to kindly begin her presentation. Uh, Ankita Pathak is currently a research scholar in postgraduate college, Birbad Sant Kabir Nagar. She will be presenting on the topic मौर्यकालीन अभिलेख उत्तर प्रदेश के विशेष संदर्भ में. Ms. Ankita Pathak, it is now up to you. Ankita ji, am I audible? Ankita Pathak ji, am I audible to you?
हेलो सर, आवाज बहुत स्लो आ रही है, सुनाई नहीं पड़ रहा कुछ.
You may please proceed. Please proceed, Ankita ji.
हेलो.
हाँ, अंकिता जी, please proceed.
आजाद जी, वॉल्यूम बहुत कम है, उनको भी नहीं सुन रहा है, मुझे भी नहीं कम सुन रहा है.
कुछ सुनाई नहीं पड़ रहा सर, 1% बिल्कुल नहीं आ रही आवाज.
Ma'am, I would recommend if you could put a earphone because we are able to hear it absolutely loud and clear.
Ankita ji, please proceed with your presentation. We are looking for the problem from our side.
हेलो सर. हेलो.
हेलो.
हेलो सर, आवाज सर बिल्कुल नहीं आ रही है.
You are audible, Ankita ji. आप मेरे लैपटॉप पे जाइए उस रूम में.
हेलो.
कोई भी लैपटॉप लेते हैं, 2 लैपटॉप रखी हुई सामने. सामने
Ankita ji, if you are logged in from your mobile phone, there may be an issue with StreamYard.
आवाज आने में दिक्कत है क्या? आवाज नहीं आ रही है क्या? मेरी आवाज नहीं जा रही है क्या? आवाज नहीं जा
Sir,
रही
we can hear you. नहीं आ रही है आपकी आवाज बिल्कुल तेज आ रही है, but I'm not sure why the other participants are unable to hear you.
श्रेया अग्रवाल, श्रेया अग्रवाल, आप अनम्यूट करें प्लीज, अनम्यूट करें
Yes.
अपना। आप मेरी
Yes,
आवाज
sir.
आ रही है? अंकिता पाठक,
Yes,
मेरी
sir.
आवाज आ रही है?
सर
अंकिता
बहुत
पाठक,
स्लो आ रही है, बहुत स्लो।
आप ईयरफोन निकालिए, ईयरफोन हटाइए, ईयरफोन हटाइए, अपने कान से ईयरफोन निकालिए, रिमूव ईयरफोन, ईयरफोन हटाइए। अब काफी अच्छी आवाज आ रही होगी। आपका इंटरनेट का इशू है।
जी सर। तुरंत बंद कर दिया।
I think there are some technical difficulties from Ankita Patil ji. On behalf of Neeru Mishra Madam, may I request Professor Mahesh Bangar to kindly present.
Sure, sir. I hope you are able to hear me loud and clear.
हमारा हेलो
Is the
Hello?
screen visible?
Mahesh Bangar.
Yes,
Yes, your
screen
PPT is
visible? Yes. Yes. All right. Should I
Please
start?
go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, please
All right.
start.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. मेरा नाम महेश बांगड़ है. I'm a professor with Dr. Bhanubin Nanavati College of Architecture in Pune.
रिंकी,
And the
या
co-author
तो
is...
बाहर से बंद कर ले या तो हम अंदर से बंद करते।
Can we have the other participants muted, please? Thank you. The co-author of the paper is architect Shreya Agrawal, who's a student of the Masters in Urban Design at Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology, Surat. The topic of our research is the role of river ghats in placemaking, a case of Varanasi, India. I'll just brief the audience about it. We've looked at how ghats have been playing the role of an indivisible part of each one's visit to the river over time immortal, and how ghats are a part of the Indian culture and tradition irrespective of the caste, creed or religion, of how ghats perform how ghats allow you to perform activities by the river side, and this liminality of the edge of the river vanishes as the ghats are built across the country, across rivers, the edges of the rivers across the country. The research looks at, the intent of the paper is to look at the case of Banaras, its famous ghats and their role in creating the spiritual image of Varanasi. The intent of research also is to inquire how the design of ghats, their materiality and the usage, the emotional attachment of the pilgrims and the activities carried out by the devotees, all of these eventually contribute to the intangible ethos of Banaras. We've looked at some parallel examples also so as to understand that ghats by their nature itself echo the same principles of placemaking across the country of the Indian subcontinent. If we look at the various anecdotes available, or we look at the scriptures where we've had the mention of rivers. We've also had the mention of how the river edges have survived or thrived over a period of time. We've also had mention of how rivers contribute to the culture of a place, especially uh, as holy as Banaras. When we look at Banaras as a case and we look at the timeline or the historical mentions of Banaras Ghats, it dates back to about 5th century BC. And if we look at it presently, when today such a huge redevelopment proposal is being constructed at the Varanasi Kashi Vishwanath temple, uh, uh, Varanasi has undergone several changes, but the historicity or the importance of the place in terms of its river as well as the ghats has always remained. When I say Varanasi, what comes to your mind or anybody is uh, those plethora of ghats or the series of ghats that are dotted with activities of people, human or animals alike. And what comes to our mind is this magnum image of the Ganga Ghats that are next to the Kashi Vishwanath corridor or the heritage corridor. The huge steps, the chhatris, the activities that are carried out, the boats, uh, the the spirituality of this place is represented through the image of the Ghats at Varanasi. We looked at Varanasi through various aspects. Also, the Ghats is the design and materiality, how the design of the Ghats add to the value of the activities in terms of those half circular or semicircular chabutras that are created at equidistance. Then you look at how the steps change their risers as you move towards the water edge. How people look at the material, because the kind of uh, stone construction that is observed across the length of the river Ganga at Varanasi, it says that this place is here to stay. And like a few scriptures have mentioned that Varanasi is as old as time, probably even before that, is because it has over centuries remained the same in terms of its imageability that it has created. In terms of usage and emotional attachment, I think all of us who have visited Varanasi and everybody who does over a period of their lifetime, they immediately relate to the traditions, the customs, the rituals that the place is uh, uh, buzzing with. And then over a period of time, you create an emotional attachment with the Kashi Vishwanath temple, the guards, the small shrines, and then somewhere thousands of people visit Varanasi to breathe their last, thinking that it's like a devotion or it's a direct doorway to heaven. And this is the emotional attachment that they have, and for the same, this attachment creates the usage of the place or dictates the usage of the place. The third aspect we looked at is the spiritual aspects of the ghats, the way they are named, the way they are designed, the way they are specifically built for a specific activity, be it the last rites ghat or be it the ghat to perform the rituals after somebody is born, or there are ghats only for bathing, or there are ghats specific to be visited during specific festivals of the year, or specific months of the year, or specific seasons of the year. So there are spiritual aspects associated with the ghats, and all of these three aspects together contribute towards the significance of the ghats, making them more and more important. When I say Varanasi, nobody suddenly remembers the shrine of the Kashi Vishwanath or the other temples, the grand Hanumanji temple that is there. But what they remember is this river edge with the ghats, these boats, these homes, these Ganga Aarti that has been carried out. So the significance of the ghats is about how people relate to it, even in its image without visiting it. The second thing is that there are two distinct factors associated with this. One is the spatial configuration of these ghats, and the other is the aesthetical configuration with these plethora of activities together coming at this edge of the river. So These two things define the Ghats very well. And the third very important factor is the small ecosystem that is created on the Ghats, be it the animals, be it the homeless people who have been sleeping on these Ghats for months, years. There are these pujaris, there are pandits, there are the people who are homeless but use the Ghats as their only home. Then there are tourists, then there are people who come every day from the city of Varanasi to have a holy dip here. So you never have a dull moment on the Ghat front of the Varanasi Ghats. We looked at passive observations as our ways of documenting how the role of river ghats is in placemaking, and we also kind of diagrammatically represented our observations. We looked at literature, of course. Dr. Rana has done extensive research on the placemaking of the river ghats at the Ganga Ghats at Varanasi. And we also tried to look at the parallel examples of analyzing these case studies in conjunction with the Varanasi Ghats. So we went around the Ghats and documented the activities, and we tried to also understand which Ghat is important for which festival, which month, and what sort of frolic is associated with each Ghat as well. And through a day, through a 24-hour span, we tried to look at activities from morning 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., and then 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. again. As early as 3 a.m., there are people who are taking dips at the Ghats. There are people who are just homeless and sleeping on the Ghats. There are animals, stray animals. These animals are fed through the day on the Ghats itself. Then there are cultural activities that are conducted on the Ghats. There are vendors, there are stalls, there are hawkers. The Ganga Aarti is a very famous activity when all of these come together. The whole of Varanasi comes together at the Ghats. We also tried to research about the visitor frequency and the important Ghats, which Ghats do they visit and which festivals do they visit these Ghats for, and try to understand that January, July, September and December are the months where they receive the highest amount of footfall maybe. And all of these contribute in a multifold manner to the essence of the whole flavor of Varanasi that exists. And while analyzing, we also thought that it is not just the human factor, but when you look at the activities, the importance that an individual gives to the activity or to the specific Ghat, the Ghats become people-centric around them. These are their needs, desires, aspirations, beliefs, customs, traditional values, all of them. Yes.
Kindly finish in 2 minutes.
Yes, we'll be finishing in 2 minutes. All of these contribute together towards the spiritual connection between the man and the river and the man and the God and life and beyond. We looked at parallel examples of the Ghats at Nasik, the Ghats at Vai, Menavli, the Ghats at Rishikesh. We also looked at Maheshwar and Pushkar. And when you look at all these parallel examples, these Ghats more or less have this common thread joining all of them. In conclusion, would like to, this is a proposal, a design proposal at the Ghats created for an architectural thesis. But in conclusion, I just want to say that the essence of a place is more about the human interface, like mentioned, the man and the water, the order in the chaos, the idea of creating the spiritual image of Banaras in the minds of the millions, those who have visited or only heard about it, the coexistence and the synergy of the people and the water, I think contributes largely towards what the placemaking of the Ganga Ghats is. And of course, as designers, we look at architectural contribution as well, the way the Ghats are built. So I think Ganga Ghats are a living example of placemaking, giving each of its place its unique identity and also inducing life in them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Wango, for your very illuminating discussion on the river Ghats. May I now request our next presenter, Shreya Agrawal.
Shreya is a co-author with the same paper, sir. So
Okay.
we presented, yeah.
Yeah. That's all. Then next is Ankita Pathak. If you are ready, am
Yes,
I
sir.
audible? हाँ.
Yes,
So
sir.
please continue. Your topic is मौर्यकालीन अभिलेख उत्तर प्रदेश के विशेष संदर्भ में.
Yes, sir. सर, मेरा नाम अंकिता पाठक है। मैं हीरालाल रामनिवास स्नातकोत्तर महाविद्यालय में प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर प्रताप विजय सर के निर्देशन में शोध छात्रा हूँ। आप सभी अध्यापक बंधुओं, अतिथि बंधुओं का मैं स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन करती हूँ। यदि मेरे शोध पत्र में किसी भी प्रकार की त्रुटि हो तो उसे सुधार करने का प्रयास करें। मेरे शोध का विषय मौर्यकालीन अभिलेख उत्तर प्रदेश के विशेष संदर्भ में है। अभिलेखों के इतिहास में अभिलेखों का ज्ञान जो हमें मौर्यकालीन युगों से प्राप्त होता है, जब हम इन अभिलेखों का अध्ययन करते हैं तो हमें यह तथ्य प्राप्त होता है कि मौर्यकालीन लेखों में एकता पाई जाती है। प्रथम राजकीय कला तथा द्वितीय लोक कला। मौर्यकाल के अध्ययनोपरांत हमें यह जानकारी प्राप्त होती है कि लेखों का विकास अशोक के समय से हुआ। यदि उनके पूर्ववर्ती शासक चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य और बिंदुसार की तरफ नजर डाला जाए तो इनके की राजकीय अभिलेख नहीं होते हैं, लेकिन इनके व्यक्तिगत लेखों में कुछ लेख प्राप्त होते हैं, जैसे पिपरावा का धातु मंजूषा अभिलेख एवं सौगौरा का कांस्य फलक अभिलेख, महास्थान शिलालेख, ये सब प्राप्त होते हैं। जैसा कि हमने उत्तर प्रदेश की विशेष संदर्भ में लिया, उसमें पहला है हमारा पिपरावा का धातु मंजूषा अभिलेख। पिपरावा का धातु मंजूषा अभिलेख उत्तर प्रदेश की पूर्व सीमा से लगा हुआ तथा नेपाल की सीमा से लगा हुआ बस्ती जिले में पिपरावा नामक स्थान पर उत्खनन के दौरान एक धातु मंजूषा से प्राप्त हुआ था। इस धातु मंजूषा पर प्राकृत भाषा के साथ साथ मौर्यकालीन ब्राह्मी लिपि खुदी मिलती है। लिपि विशेषज्ञों एवं विद्वानों ने इस लेख को 3वीं शताब्दी ईसा पूर्व के आसपास का माना है। इस धातु मंजूषा पर उत्कीर्ण लेख का संस्कृत अनुवाद है। सुकित भतिनम स भगिनीकनम सपूत दलनम इयम सलिले निधने बुधस भगवते सक्यानम, अर्थात बुद्ध भगवान साक्य के इस शरीर धातु मंजूषा अर्थात निधान से सुकृति बंधुओं ने अपनी बहन, पुत्र और पत्नी के साथ प्रतिष्ठित किया। इस प्रकार उत्कीर्ण लेखों से शब्दों को लेकर विद्वानों में सामंजस्य नहीं दिखता है। विद्वानों का एक वर्ग सुकृति को सुकीर्ति से संबंधित करने लगता है, तो दूसरा वर्ग इसे सुकृति का रूप दर्शाने में लग जाता है। इन्हीं शब्दों को लेकर भ्रम और असमंजस की स्थिति उत्पन्न हो जाती है। इसके दूसरे शब्द भतिनम का उल्लेख है। जब इस शब्द भतिनम का संस्कृत अनुवाद व्याख्या करते हैं तो भाव भातृणाम स्थापित हो जाता है। भतिनम एवं भातृणाम संस्कृत शब्दावली से संबंध रखते हुए भक्तियों का उल्लेख करता है। इसी शब्द व्याख्या के अनुसार जब हम दोनों शब्दों सुकित एवं भतिनम का एक साथ अनुवाद करते हैं तो इसका अर्थ सुकित के भाई अर्थात सुकीर्ति और भक्त के रूप में निकलता है। इसमें सुकीर्ति और भक्त दोनों एक व्यक्ति का भाव उल्लिखित करते हैं, परंतु इतिहासवेत्ता डॉक्टर परमेश्वरी लाल गुप्ता ने अपना तर्क दिया है कि सुकीर्ति भक्तियों के रूप में सुकीर्ति और भक्त का अनुमान करने का कोई औचित्य नहीं है। इसका भाव सुकृति के भाई से न होकर स्वीकृति बंधु होगा। पिपरावा के धातु मंजूषा लेख से यह ज्ञात होता है कि इस मंजूषा में भगवान बुद्ध की अस्थि अवशेष सुरक्षित है। इसके संदर्भ में हमें कई प्रारंभिक साक्ष्य भी प्राप्त होते हैं, परंतु इस अस्थि अवशेष के रखे जाने के संदर्भ तथा उसके समय एवं कालानुक्रम के बारे में हमें कोई जानकारी प्राप्त नहीं होती है। इसके बारे में हमें कई दिक्कतों का सामना करना पड़ता है। परमेश्वरी लाल गुप्ता जैसे इतिहासकार ने इस संदर्भ में अपना तर्क देते हुए इस मंजूषा में जो भगवान बुद्ध की अस्थि अवशेष रखी गई है वह ऐसा प्रतीत होता है कि उनके निधन के तत्काल बाद की नहीं है, वरन वह अस्थि अवशेष किसी अन्य के द्वारा उनके निधन के काफी समय बाद रखी गई। इसके बाद है सौगौरा कांस्य फलक लेख। उत्तर प्रदेश के गोरखपुर जिले के सौगौरा स्थान से मौर्यकालीन एक कांस्य फलक लेख प्राप्त हुआ है। पुरातत्ववेत्ताओं का मत है कि पहले यह शिलालेख कलकत्ता एशियाटिक सोसाइटी कलकत्ता में संरक्षित था, परंतु विगत कई वर्षों से इस लेख का कोई पता नहीं है। यह लेख सौंदर्यात्मक रूप से भी अद्वितीय अनुपम था, क्योंकि यह फलक लेख सांचे में ढालकर सुव्यवस्थित रूप से तैयार किया गया था। पिपरावा लेख की तरह इसे लेख को भी विद्वानों एवं इतिहासकारों में मतभेद है। एक तरफ इस लेख को कुछ विद्वान अशोक के पूर्व का मानते हैं, तो वहीं कुछ विद्वान अपना मत है कि यह फलक मौर्य युग के आरंभ होने से पहले का है। डॉक्टर परमेश्वरी लाल गुप्ता तथा दिनेश चंद्र सरकार जैसे विद्वान इस तर्क से सहमत नहीं हैं कि यह लेख अशोक से पूर्व का माना जाए। यह लेख ब्राह्मी लिपि में उत्कीर्ण है। इसके ब्राह्मी लिपि में उत्कीर्ण होने से राजबली पांडे जैसे इतिहासकार इस अभिलेख को 4वीं शताब्दी ईसा पूर्व का मानते हैं। सौगौरा अभिलेख प्राकृत भाषा में लिखा गया है। निसंदेह इस अभिलेख से मौर्यकालीन शासन व्यवस्था की जानकारी मिलती है। सौंदर्यगत विशेषताओं के आधार पर यह अभिलेख एक ताम्र अभिलेख है, जिसकी बनावट तत्कालीन सौंदर्य लेख की तरफ अग्रसित होती है। इतिहासकार डॉक्टर राजबली पांडे ने अपने ग्रंथ में इस अभिलेख के महत्व को बतलाया है। इस अभिलेख की भाषा बहुत ही अस्पष्ट है, क्योंकि इसके अक्षर कहीं कहीं से टूट गए हैं, जिसके कारण इनका वास्तविक और सही ज्ञान प्राप्त करने में कठिनाई होती है। जिन जिन विद्वानों ने इन अभिलेखों का अध्ययन किया, उन सभी ने इसकी व्याख्या अपने अपने ढंग से की है। जैसे ब्यूलर ने इसकी व्याख्या करते हुए कहा है कि इन 3 खंडों वाले दोनों कोष्ठागारों का जो सुविख्यात वंशग्राम में आपत्ति के लिए मधु, लाज, अजमोदा, अम के भारत के जमा करने की आवश्यकता होगी, जबकि एक अन्य विद्वान डॉक्टर फ्लीट इसके पक्ष में अपना मत व्यक्त करते हैं कि मनवासी के चौराहे पर स्थित यह दोनों कोष्ठागार त्रियवनी, मथुरा और चक्र के अन्य भारकों के रखने के लिए बनाए गए हैं। डी एम बरुआ का तर्क है कि चारा, गेहूं, कलछुल, खेमे, हल और रस्सी के बोझ के लिए बने ये दोनों कोष्ठागार आवश्यकता के समय प्रयोग में लाए जाते थे। विद्वानों की इसी धारणा के अनुसार मेरी अपनी राय यह है कि अभिलेख से 2 विशेष तथ्यों का पता चलता है। पहला यह है कि मौर्य युगीन भारत में अनाज के रखे जाने के लिए कोष्ठागार बनाए जाते थे, जिनका उपयोग वहां के नागरिकों द्वारा आपत्ति काल में महामात्रों के निर्देशोपरांत किया जाता था। दूसरा तथ्य यह है कि अनाजों को नागरिकों के लिए आपत्ति काल में बंटवाने का कर्तव्य शासन का था। इस अभिलेख की 3री पंक्ति में ब्यूलर ने तिहवन का अर्थ 3 कमरे का माना है तथा माथु को मधु, लच को भुने चावल, अजमोद को अजवायन तथा अम को आम और भलकन को भार से भरे हुए से संबंधित माना है। डॉक्टर श्री राम गोयल ने भी तिहवन का अर्थ 3 मंजिले या 3 तल से माना हुआ है। इस ताम्रपत्र पर 2 मंजिले भवन की रूपरेखा बनाई गई है। अर्थात मेरी यह राय है कि 2 मंजिले की भवन की रूपरेखा कोष्ठागार की है। डी एम बरुआ ने त्रिवेणी, मथुरा तथा चंचू 3 ग्रामों का उल्लेख किया हुआ है तथा तिहवन को तिनयवन मानकर उनका भाव तृण और यव के रूप में लिया है। डॉक्टर राजबली पांडे ने त्रिवेणी, त्रिकवेणी, माथुर, चंचू, मयुदाम और भल्लक 5 ग्रामों का उल्लेख किया है। ऐसा प्रतीत होता है कि त्रिवेणी, मथुरा ये स्थानों के नाम है जो श्रावस्ती के महामात्रों के अधिकार क्षेत्र में थे। तीसरा है दिल्ली मेरठ स्तंभ लेख। इस अभिलेख के बारे में अभी कोई जानकारी प्रमाणित तथ्य के रूप में सामने नहीं आया है। यह अभिलेख मूल रूप से कहाँ और किस स्थान पर पाया गया था, इस बात पर इतिहासकारों में अभी तक मतभेद व्याप्त है। इतिहासकार डॉक्टर परमेश्वरी लाल गुप्ता के अनुसार यह अभिलेख उत्तर प्रदेश के मेरठ जिले में स्थित था। दिल्ली टोकरा अभिलेख की ही भांति इसके बारे में भी कहा जाता है कि सुल्तान फिरोज शाह तुगलक ने भी दिल्ली से उठा करके लाया था। इसको दिल्ली लाने के पश्चात कोसक शिकार महल के सामने खड़ा करवा दिया था। ऐसा माना जाता है कि 18वीं शताब्दी के आरंभ में कोसक महल में स्थित बारूद खाने में आग लग जाने के कारण यह स्तंभ टूटकर 5 भागों में बिखर गया। बाद में जब भारत पर अंग्रेजी सत्ता की हुकूमत हो गई तो अंग्रेजी सरकार का ध्यान इस अभिलेख पर पड़ा, जिसके फलस्वरूप अंग्रेजी सरकार ने कुछ विशिष्ट शिल्पकारों और विशेष स्थापत्य वस्तुओं के माध्यम से इसके टूटे हुए टुकड़ों को पुनः जोड़ने का कार्य किया। वे अपने इस प्रयास में सफल हो गए। सफलता प्राप्ति के बाद उन्होंने इसे पुरानी दिल्ली में स्थित दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय के निकट जीतगढ़ नामक स्थान पर खड़ा किया। इस अभिलेख का एक खंड ब्रिटिश संग्रहालय में भी मौजूद है। अशोक का दिल्ली मेरठ स्तंभ लेख वर्तमान में दिल्ली के कश्मीरी दरवाजे के उत्तर पश्चिम में फैली हुई पहाड़ी पर स्थापित है। यह स्तंभ अभिलेख वर्तमान समय में पूर्ण सुरक्षित स्थिति में नहीं है। यह स्तंभ 1867 में पुनः स्थापित किया गया, परंतु यह स्तंभ भारतीय पुरातत्व सर्वेक्षण विभाग, संस्कृति मंत्रालय, राष्ट्रीय संग्रहालयों द्वारा उपेक्षित होने के कारण अपने मूल रूप में अस्तित्व में नहीं है। अर्थात मेरा यह अपनी राय है कि अगर इसी तरह उपेक्षित और परिष्कृत होता रहा तो आने वाले समयोपरांत अपना अस्तित्व यह खो देगा, जिसका परिणाम यह होगा कि जो थोड़ी बहुत जानकारी हमें इसकी प्राप्त हो रही है, आने वाले समय में वह भी न मिल सकेगी। अगला है प्रयाग स्तंभ लेख। अशोक द्वारा निर्मित यह स्तंभ लेख वर्तमान समय में उत्तर प्रदेश के इलाहाबाद में स्थित है। इस पर अशोक के स्तंभ लेखों के अलावा अनेकों प्रकार के अन्य लेख भी उत्कीर्ण हैं। इन उत्कीर्ण अभिलेखों में गुप्तवंशी शासकों का भी ज्ञान मिलता है। अभिलेखों में गुप्तवंशी सम्राट समुद्रगुप्त की विश्व प्रसिद्ध प्रयाग प्रशस्ति भी उल्लिखित है, जो कि सबसे अधिक महत्वपूर्ण है। इस स्तंभ पर उत्कीर्ण लेखों में प्रमुखतया दिल्ली टोकरा स्तंभ लेख पर उत्कीर्ण 7 लेखों में से यह 6 लेख है, 6वां है। लेखों में महान मौर्य सम्राट अशोक द्वारा कौशाम्बी के महामात्र को आदेश देने के लिए उत्कीर्ण कराया गया था। यह एक अन्य लेख, इसमें एक अन्य लेख भी शामिल है, जिसमें अशोक ने कौशाम्बी के महामात्र को आदेश दिया है कि संघ अर्थात भिक्षु संघ को भंग करने वालों को क्या क्या दंड दिए गए। इस लेख में एक अन्य लेख जो कि अशोक द्वारा उत्कीर्ण करवाया गया है में तीवर की द्वितीय देवी, तीवर की माता द्वितीय देवी कार्यवाही के सत्य दान धर्म पुण्य तथा राजकर्म के साथ देवोपासना का भी उल्लेख किया गया है। लेख में चौथे नंबर पर समुद्रगुप्त की प्रयाग प्रशस्ति अंकित है। इस स्तंभ लेख में सबसे महत्वपूर्ण जानकारी यह है कि इसी लेख पर
टाइम का ध्यान रखते हुए
ओके
काइंडली फिनिश योर प्रेजेंटेशन।
ओके, उपरोक्त कथनों, निष्कर्षों, वक्तव्यों एवं वैधानिक ग्रंथों और विद्वानों की कृतियों के अध्ययनों उपरांत मेरी यह राय है कि इलाहाबाद का स्तंभ लेख अशोक द्वारा उत्कीर्ण कराया गया था। इस बात का भी संदेह नहीं है कि इस स्तंभ लेख में समुद्रगुप्त एवं जहांगीर से संबंधित पंक्तियां भी उत्कीर्ण हैं। जब हम इसके मूल स्थान पर नजर डालते हैं तो यह निष्कर्ष सामने आता है कि कोसम को कौशाम्बी से लाया गया, क्योंकि जब हम इलाहाबाद और कोसम की भौगोलिक स्थिति पर नजर डालते हैं तो यह स्पष्ट हो जाता है कि कोसम ही कौशाम्बी था। मेरे द्वारा प्रस्तुत विषय मौर्यकालीन अभिलेख उत्तर प्रदेश के विशेष संदर्भ में पत्र प्रस्तुत करने का कार्य किया गया। अतः मैं आशा करती हूँ कि मेरे द्वारा प्रस्तुत शोध पत्र उच्च कोटि का है तथा इसमें अगर कोई त्रुटि हो तो इसे सुधार करने की कृपा कीजिए। धन्यवाद।
अवस्थी, आप अपना पेपर का नाम बताते हुए थोड़ा परिचय देते हुए अपना पेपर।
Thank you, Ankita ji, for your wonderful presentation. We will have now offline presentations from here. You are requested to keep join online, and you may hear the presentations.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir. This is architect Siddhi Joshi.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Shefalika Awasthi, working as Curator, Kutch Museum, Government of Gujarat. And today my paper is based on history and heritage in determining the present and future in Kutch Museum. But before coming to the main topic, I would like to like my audience to go through a 15-minute video film which is based on Kutch Museum Bhuj, so that people may get an inkling about what Kutch Museum is all about and what is the time and history of the Kutch Museum.
When the British colonized the Indian subcontinent in the 18th century, the European idea of the museum percolated to India. Sir William Jones, an outstanding scholar from Oxford, arrived in India as the judge of the old Supreme Court of Calcutta. Besides performing his judicial functions, he also got an opportunity to prosecute his pursuit in India. Keeping this view in mind, his first and foremost task was the foundation of the Asiatic Society of Bengal in order to set up a center of Asian studies. The society, which was an imagination of Jones from the time when he was sailing from England to India, was actually founded within 4 months of his arrival. Although he was not the first Orientalist of the East India Company to arrive in India, but of course he was the first man to think in terms of a permanent organization of Orientalist studies and research on a broad scale. Before independence, Kutch was one of the noted princely state of India, ruled by the Maharao of Kutch. It was a feudal state with predominance of landlords. After May 1948, the state merged in the dominion of India and became a province under the rule of a chief commissioner. On the inauguration of the Democratic Republic of India, it was made a part of Sea State in 1950. Thereafter, Kutch merged as district in the bigger bilingual Bombay state in November 1956 as a result of reorganization of the states. In May 1960, when the state of Gujarat was formed, Kutch finally became the biggest district not only in Gujarat but in India as well. Although British interference into the internal affairs of Kutch administration had started in the beginning of the 19th century, but it was the reign of Khingaji III which was marked with many historical events. Khingaji III, a noted sportsman, naturalist and ornithologist, was deeply interested in the art, culture and even in the wildlife and behavior of fauna. He extended his support in establishing an art school to encourage ancient arts, handicrafts and traditional industries. A museum was created as a part of the School of Art, which was started on July 1st, 1877, under the principalship of one Mr. J.D. Aspran, as his signature has been found on some papers related with museum exhibits. This indicates that J.D. was not only looking after the museum but also the art school as its principal. Thus, the birth date of this museum can be accepted as 1877, making it the first and the oldest museum of Gujarat. The birth of a museum at Bhuj during the reign of Khingaji III is a milestone in the history of the museum movement in Gujarat. The birth of a museum at Bhuj during the reign of Khingaji III is a milestone in the history of the museum movement in Gujarat. When the museum came into existence, it was named as Ferguson Museum after Sir James Ferguson, 6th Baronet, who was a British soldier, conservative politician and a colonial administrator who laid the foundation stone of the present building on 14th November 1884. The building, which was planned by Mr. Macleland, the then estate engineer, was constructed at the cost of Rs 32,000 and is built on sandstone, which is located diagonally opposite the Misra lake. The collection of the museum was developed and enriched by the former rulers of Kutch, and it was also augmented at the time of the exhibition, which was organized in year 1884. Over a period of time, the collection was also enriched by the curators. The oldest museum of Gujarat was open to public after the Indian independence. As before this public opening, the museum was shown exclusively to the royal guests, and the public could have a look at it only on the occasions of important religious festivals. After independence, it was renamed as Kutch Museum Bhuj, the present official name of the museum. During the 141 years of establishment, far-reaching changes have been taken place in the museum. Kutch Museum Bhuj, a regional museum in nature, is basically an art and archaeological museum. Divided into two floors, the ground and the first, the museum showcases the art and archaeology of Kutch district. The ground floor of the museum is dedicated to archaeology of Kutch, which is an area worthy of interest both for the archaeologists and the historians. The history of Kutch goes back to the Jurassic period, of which very little is known to us. So many prehistoric archaeological sites have been discovered, and Dholavira is noted amongst them. Museum has objects related to the proto-history belonging to the Indus Valley civilization. Few original objects were procured by Kutch Museum, which is said to have been to find from Dholavira, a small village in the eastern region of the Run of Kutch, and of course an important and one of the biggest site of Indus Valley civilization in India. It bears the impression of animal nicknamed unicorn and some signs of Indus script. Kutch is also very much noted for its paliyas, the memorial stones or funeral slabs, which are scattered all over the district. The museum also houses few paliyas. Kutch district has large reserves of minerals like bauxite, steatite, coal, lime, etc. The museum showcases the sample of these minerals as well. Major deposits are found in Mandvi, Abrasa and Nakhatrana, whereas minor deposits are found in Bhuj, Anjar and Lakhpat talukas. The stone inscriptions of the Kshatrap dynasty and the Abhi dynasty of Gujarat are rare and historically very rich exhibits of the museum. Kutch Museum is having the largest collection of the Kshatrap inscriptions, total 11 in numbers. Most of the stone inscriptions have been brought from Andhau village, which is located 20 kilometers away from Dholavira. Other inscriptions have been found from villages like Mevasa, Vand, Khavra, etc. Museum is also pottery ware from the Harappan times. Museum is having a good collection of coins which are said to have been found from the Rann and also from some villages of Kutch, which establishes the fact that these villages were at point were thriving seaports and were the commercial centers in ancient and medieval times. Kutch district is inhabited by various groups and communities where one can find various nomadic, semi-nomadic and artisan groups living in Kutch. The museum showcases the dharmas displaying the habitat of different communities. To name a few are Kolis, Rabaris, Ahir, Charan, Mutwa, Bhil, Meghwal and so on. Collection of Hindu like Vishnu, Shiva, Sun, the Chauri bearers, Buddhist and Jain deities are also on display. Apart from it, museum has an image of the sun head which belongs to the 5th to 6th century AD. Apart from these collection, the ground floor of the museum houses the ceiling medallion from Kera, which belongs to the 10th century AD, the standing image of Vishnu in black stone, the Buddha image, and also few bronze images, among which a beautiful standing image of Buddha is prominent, which belongs to the 7th century AD. Kutch is the birthplace of many handicrafts carried on extensively from generation to generation. Several industries, mainly in the form of crafts, developed in its natural way due to the trade at Kutch. The Old Gazetteer of Kutch lists a number of industries, and the notable among them were gold, silver, copper, iron, gilding, polishing, mason work, carpentry, cotton spinning and weaving, dyeing, silk printing, shield making, oil pressing, tanning, etc. Kutch has long been famous for its goldsmith and silversmith. Embroidery was another important craft, and Kutch is famous for its rich variety of embroidery like chain stitching. Bandhani is another important craft of Kutch. Red, blue, green and black are the colors which are generally used in Kutch for bandhani. Enameling of Kutch is equally famous. Gold and silver objects were often decorated with meenakari. Over and above these, lacquer work, ivory work, terracotta, Bharat kam are noteworthy. Representative specimens of the ancient art, craft and industry of Kutch can be seen in the Kutch Museum, Bhuj. Kutch embroidery is world famous. It has various schools and important of them are represented by the mochis, jats, mutwas, ahirs, and rabaris. There are so many important embroidered pieces which are displayed in the museum. Apart from the embroidery, museum also houses the collection of mushroom or elytra which was found useful in book and album binding during the medieval period. Gold and silver objects. Kutch Museum has good collection of gold and silver articles. Most of them were made in 1884 during the marriage ceremony of King Aji III. Kutch Museum, a multidisciplinary museum, is one of the very few museums of India that have earned the status and distinction of celebrating their 100th anniversary. The museum completed a century of its existence in year 1977, and to commemorate the 100 years of establishment, the Government of India had issued a postal stamp depicting Airavat, a wooden elephant displayed in museum, which is indeed a pride moment and important occasion in the life of any institution.
नहीं नहीं अभी अब प्रेजेंटेशन स्लाइड शुरू हो गया तो अभी अगर आपको टाइम लगे तो आप प्लीज मुझे मना कर दीजिएगा Welcome back. And since you people have seen the 15 minutes video which is based on the life and times of Kutch Museum, now I would like to go for the verbal talk, which is indeed again based on my museum, but from a different perspective altogether. So the first slide is of map of the Kutch district, which is happens to be the largest district not only in Gujarat but India as well. I have taken this map just to showcase that whatever talukas, because in other slides I'll keep talking about the different talukas and different villages of Kutch. So just to give an overview about the map of Kutch, about the Kutch, I have used this map. Yeah. So here in the introduction part, as you people have already seen that what is the history of Kutch Museum. So I have marked all these dates like 1st July 1877. So generally what happened during British time, since India was also a colony and there were 4 to 5 countries which were having their colonies in different parts of the world. Like there were French colonies, there were Dutch, there were Britishers, and there were Portuguese as well. So these colonies, in whichever country they were ruling, they were just trying to showcase the wealth of those countries and just trying to show the power in which type of powerful and economically well countries they are ruling. I'm just giving this brief introduction about the brief background, because in 1884 an exhibition was happened in Europe, which traveled all across the Europe, and the idea behind was that the Britishers, they had invited the royal families or the ruling princely estates to showcase, to come up with their objects so that they can start a traveling exhibition just to showcase the wealth. The idea was behind that, and there was a competition as well between all those colonies, like Dutch के बीच में था, French के बीच में था, Britishers थे, Portuguese थे, so they were actually the competitors themselves. So they were trying to showcase, and when such type of exhibition happened in 1884, the princely estate of Kutch was one of them. but it is the case of 1884. But exactly what happened on 1st July 1877? On 1st July 1877, the oldest museum of Gujarat came into existence, and it was formed as a part of the School of Art, like other museums of India as well. For example, if you see the Albert Hall Museum of Jaipur, if you see the other museums as well, they were also firstly initiated or established as an art school, and later on they were converted by the rulers as a museum. But the case was at that time museums were not open for the public. They were only open for the VVIPs, and on the special occasions like festivals or one or two time in a year, they were open for the public. So this is on the right hand side, top side, you can see the portrait of King Haji Rao III. He was the then Maharao of Kutch. He was a noted sportsman, he was a philanthropist, and he was very active in art and culture. So, Kutch Museum, which was the brainchild of King Haji Rao III. Whereas this 1884 is concerned, it is the same year when King Haji Rao got married, and a craft exhibition was also organized, which traveled all across Jaipur, as I was talking earlier. And after the termination of that particular exhibition, the question arose where to put that collection. Although the museum was there, but the Maharaja was showcasing the personal property or the personal collection to its VVIP's guests. But when that exhibition came to India after the that craft exhibition, he decide हुआ कि where to showcase that particular collection, and for that matter a separate building was required. And on 14th November 1884, which happens to be the Children's Day as well, the foundation stone of the present building, which was earlier known as Ferguson Museum, was laid by Sir James Ferguson. You can see on the right side the photograph of the British nobleman. He was James Ferguson, who was the then governor of Bombay, and he laid the foundation stone, and that's why the museum came to be known as the Ferguson Museum, but only after to be changed after Indian independence in 1947, it came to be known as Kutch Museum, Kutch. And the third picture which I have taken, you can see at the bottom right side, it is the damaged building of the Kutch Museum, and this devastating earthquake occurred in the region of Kutch, and it was a Black Friday in the history of, not only in the history of Gujarat but also in the history of India. And like many other parts of the Kutch region, the first floor of the Kutch Museum too got collapsed, and it has also affected other districts of Gujarat as well. It was not only Kutch, but it were other districts as well, and it happened in 26 January 2001. Yeah, and then now I come to the collection part. So basically we have two sections, the ground floor and the first floor. The ground floor deals with the archaeology of Kutch, and the first floor deals with the art of Kutch. Archaeology is in the sense that in Gujarat there are so many archaeological sites, and Kutch is the prominent where the number of archaeological sites are concerned. So whereas archaeology is concerned, we have displayed the objects from Vera and other places. We do have palias, coins, stone inscriptions, stone metal sculptures, and we'll talk about the different collection in the coming slides. Yeah, you can see the glimpses of the collection here. I have showed the scenes of Indus Valley civilization from Dholavira, which are actually original, which you are seeing on the left side, and on the right side there is one small sculpture of sun, and which belongs to the 6th century AD, and one object showcasing the head of the sun. And these are the sculptures. We do have the Brahmanical and the Jain and the Buddha deities of not only in stone but in the metal as well. So on the left side you can see the image of the sun. On the middle you can see the image of Jain Tirthankar, and the standing image of Buddha. It belongs to 7th century AD on the extreme right. Yeah, these are the inscriptions and palias. And one thing I would like to tell, that Kutch Museum, which is the only museum which is having the largest number of Shatapas collection, which has happened to be 11, and recently we have found one from Mandvi, which is 50 kilometers away from which it is a Taluka in Kutch district. So recently we have found one, and now the number has gone up to 12. And on the right side, we do have palias also, which are found from Kutch region as only. And one thing I would like to tell, that whatever Kutch Museum is basically the regional museum in nature. Whatever we have found from Kutch, it all belongs to the whatever we have displayed in the museum, it all belongs to the Kutch region. And now this is art section. We do have a lot of collection of textile and paintings. Painting in the sense कि in the बीच में जो आप इमेज देख रहे हैं, this is the painting of this is an art piece. A painting has been done on the textile, and it is the speciality of Kutch, and there is only one village which is named as Nirona, the only village in the entire country, not only in Kutch, which make such type of paintings, and aesthetically they are very beautiful. And on the right side I have displayed the mushroom. And we do have collection of gold and silver objects as well. And since I have told that King Rao III, he has got so many things in his dowry, and so many collection has been created just to showcase on that 1884 exhibition as a part of that. And this is how and these are the ceremonial weapons. Okay. Okay. This can be considered as one of the masterpiece of Kutch Museum, which has been brought from Shantinath Jain Terasar. And when museum completed 100 years, this postal stamp issued on Arabic. And this is the story of the. There are so many slides. I don't know what should I do. I'm extremely sorry, since you people have got an overview about the Kutch Museum in the 15 minutes video film. So, anyways, since I do have a time limit, and the organizers, they are also asking me to sum up. So, thank you so much. And in case if I get a chance, I'll definitely come back to you. Thank you so much.
धन्यवाद मैडम। नेक्स्ट हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट स्पीकर हैं तनुश्री झा, यूनिवर्सिटी स्कूल ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटीज एंड सोशल साइंसेज। आप अपना बहुत थोड़ा परिचय और विषय पे सीधे आप पेपर प्रेजेंट कीजिए, समय कम है, विषय बता के पेपर अपना शॉर्ट में ही थोड़ा।
Good evening, everybody. I'm Tanushri from Guru Gobind Singh Intertrust University, New Delhi. The topic of my paper is Lok, Life and Art, a perspective on the nature of expression of folk art. The experiences of life are lived by the unification or yoke of 5 Karmendriya and 5 Gyanendriya in certain given circumstances. Life is guided by the cycle of Gyanarjan and Karma. What makes this cycle of life an exclusive experience for everybody, every person, is their own circumstances that they live in. Here, the circumstances include geography, time, social and political conditions, culture, traditions, and genetic endowment. For coordination of Gyan, Arjan, and Karma, the need for expression and communication arises. At this stage, both interpersonal and intrapersonal communication are at work. The Gyanendriya present in the human body perpetuates this process of signification, leading to Rasa Swadan as an essential part of the whole process. Invariably, human understanding of life also encompasses the aesthetics of the mundane life. The process of signification includes the experience of different bhavs, culminating into the various rasas which flows through the living experience. The idea of ras is manifested in the beauty of day-to-day life, even in the expressions of the collective memories. These collective memories and experiences of society can be exclusive in their own ways, depending on the circumstances and lived wisdom. The forms of expression include orality, signs and symbols, drawings and paintings on the wall, and floors, stories, music, etc. The lived experiences find manifestation in various forms of expression, which is their lok. The term lok refers to lokik, which means worldly or everyday life. Folk art refers to these expressions of the collective conscience of people, which can be better called as lok parampara. The darshan shastra and folk art of a region are related in terms of the history, culture, and social circumstances of the region. To To understand an art form pertaining to a place or community, it is important to live with their collective memories, traditions, and philosophy of life. These traditions and ceremonial art forms are embodiment of the heritage of the common folks of the region, which is passed on as socio-cultural legacy. The Lok Parampara of a region is capable of self-regeneration with the changing times and circumstances. The Darshan Shastra provides a point of view to appreciate and experience the Lok Parampara of the certain region. It also provides a base for growth and regeneration of Lok Parampara. And on the other hand, Lok Parampara complements the Shastras. The answers which are not found in the Shastras can be sought in the Lok Parampara of the region. Lok Parampara encompasses both Darshan Shastra and experiences of day-to-day life. Folk art is not exhibitionist, it is for self. It is for fulfillment, and above all, it is an essential part of life. Art is an essential part of our lived experience. In popular sense, art takes inspiration from life and is considered as something separate from the lived experiences of people. According to Dr. Watts, I quote, "This is the Dvait of art." On the other hand, in Lok Parampara, art has an Advait relation with the everyday life. This Advait signifies the absence of exhibitionist tendencies in the creator. Here, the creator is not different from the performer, the practitioner, and the audience. This is the idea of Advait in art. Creator, performer, practitioner, and audience are key to this concept. To understand this concept, one needs to understand the idea of these key elements in the whole process of art creation. Creator is the one who brings something to existence, investing his energy and imagination. Performer is not the creator. He takes something that already exists and acts following an already existing line of tradition. Practitioner is the one who carries an established tradition forward to be continued by the coming or the new generation. The audience is the one with the critical eye or the
instead of reading this, you switch over to the web, then it takes the actually.
So that is the work I'm talking about. That is a
पेपर
paper
पढ़ना है, थोड़ा देख
presentation.
लेते, ठीक है। जैसे थोड़ा सामने से स्क्रीन पे देखो।
The audience is the one with the critical or appreciative eye, the one who is not involved in the creation, performance, and practice. But it is pertinent to mention that an audience should qualify by being a part of the court system to be able to justifiably appreciate the art. It is important to point out that Lok is a complete unit and every member is creator, practitioner, performer, and audience, all rolled into one. The creator's eye is fully qualified to be a critical eye for being an integral part of the tradition and parampara. The relationship of creator, practitioner, performer, and audience with art at an individual level gives scope for four concepts of involvement in art. The relationship of art with its creator lies at the level of imagination, where the creative mind creates the art, first at the level of idea, then creator's energy transforms into physically present piece of art. This relationship of art with its performer lies in the act of actually creating and practicing an already existing line of tradition. The relationship of art with its practitioner lies at the level of dedication and experience, where the practitioner keeps the tradition alive by practicing the art tradition as a part of daily life. It is through the practitioner that any art tradition is kept alive and ever rolling as the practitioner also propagates and grows with the tradition. The relationship of art with the audience lies in the authenticity of the environment where the art is being created and practiced as part of a tradition. The audience has to be a part of the social and cultural code where the art is being created, then performed, and then practiced as part of a tradition. In order to criticize or appreciate this tradition and the artwork involved in the tradition, the audience has to be a bona fide and sustainable source. These individual relationships can also be seen as four mental states of involvement in any ritualistic art practice or any art tradition. It is evident from the idea of these relationships that it is not the surplus energy which is materialized into a certain art tradition. Rather, these art traditions are part of regular life itself. Art is Shakti, which propels life. Similarly, life involves itself in art. For example, the process of weaving a nest by a bird. The spectators who are not birds look at the nest and are surprised by the artfulness of the weave done by the bird. But certainly the bird was not consciously creating an art because for her the phenomena or the act of weaving is part of her life. She is not creating, performing, or practicing, or even appreciating the act as art. She is only living her life. This explains the principle of non-duality, where the weaver and the weave are not separate. The Shastra, a theoretical compendium, talks of the technical and theoretical aspect of art. It states principles on which art can be performed and appreciated. Such knowledge wreaks a sense of competition and judgment on the lines of superior versus inferior. It talks about talent and skill, and on the other hand, in Lok, art involves passion and a sense of surrender. As far as medium of creation is concerned, on classical level, art emerges primarily from intellect and the emotions are secondary. In Lok, art emerges primarily from the soul and emotions. Every art is capable of leading to rasa. Traditionally, an art form leads to the realization of emotion and power. In case of Lok, the nature of ras is such that it dissolves the creator or the sahriday or the appreciator into itself. This is like a state of unification where the creator is not consciously aware of his own defacement. The rituals of celebration and mourning, birth, death, and marriage are fine examples of Lok Parampara, where one art is dependent on the other, and all of them emerge from the depth of one's emotions and lived experiences. In the second Addhyaya of third Khand of Sri Vishnu Dharmatra, King Vajra asks, I quote, O progenitor of Bhrigu race, kindly explain to me very clearly the canon of painting because one who knows canon of painting knows the character of images. Unquote. On this, Markandeya Rishi replies, I quote, it is very difficult to know the canon of painting without knowing the canon of dance because, okay, in both the world is to be initiated or represented. On hearing this, King Vajra again inquired, I quote, O twice born king, kindly explain to me the canon of dance and then be kind to speak about those of painting because one who knows the science of dance knows painting. Unquote. Markandeya Rishi again replies, I quote, dance is difficult to be understood by one who doesn't know instrumental music or atodaya. Without instrumental music, there cannot be dancing. Unquote. This conversation goes on, connecting vocal music to upbrushta music to prose and verse, etc. Thus, this conversation establishes the idea of interdependence of art. This interdependence of art can be clearly seen in ritualistic art practices. The rituals of Kohbar are an important part of the marriage ceremonies of Bihar and Jharkhand. Just after the wedding is over, the newly wedded couple is taken to the nuptial chamber where a wall is painted in Madhubani style of painting, and there are a few rituals that take place which involve folk songs of Kohbar and some sweets. Also the paintings. The idea behind painting a kohbar is to bless the couple and set a romantic tone for their married life. The kohbar illustrates love, prosperity, fertility, etc. Two motifs which are important while painting a kohbar is bamboo, which symbolizes regeneration and growth, and purin leaves, which are aquatic floating leaves, which symbolizes proliferation and also expansion. The form and content of kohbar has changed over the years. Kohbar was initially painted on the mud walls of nuptial chamber, and then as the forms of wall changed, the whole process of preparing the wall for kohbar has also changed. In recent scenario, kohbar has started to be drawn on paper, and later that paper was glued to the walls. All the rituals that take place while sitting in front of kohbar, however, have not changed with the same pace. The newlywed couple are supposed to put tilak on the bamboo motif and the puran leaf motif. The groom puts the tilak on the bamboo motif and the bride puts tilak on the leaf. Then traditional kheer and puri is served, where both the bride and groom have to feed each other, symbolizing the start of their married life as partners. Then some married women, which is obviously an auspicious number of women, give blessings by sprinkling rice dyed in turmeric in a process called Jumara. The whole ritual is commemorated by folk songs of Oghur in the native language or dialect throughout the process. The wo- Alright. It is not just the marriage of two people, rather the whole extended family, friends and neighbors that are all part of the ceremony. The food used in the ceremony is also simple and traditional. The people involved in the process, the food, the painting, the songs, and the idea of aesthetics pertaining to the region are all dependent on one another. All these elements have no significance in isolation. It is only in their togetherness that they make life more meaningful. Just like the birds making their nest, the motive of these people is not to create art in the classical sense. Rather, they are simply living their life, experiencing and enjoying their lives. Here, art can be seen in its Advait abode, bereft of any exhibitionist tendencies. In the creator, it is raw form. It is the creator which can be seen in its raw form, which is one with its own life. Thank you.
धन्यवाद मैडम। चतुर्थ तकनीकी सत्र की अध्यक्षता कर रही हूँ प्रोफेसर नीरू मिश्रा मैडम, अगर आप सुन रही हो हमें। हेलो, नमस्कार मैडम। नमस्कार मैडम। बहुत बहुत स्वागत मैडम आपका। आप साथ हुई के लिए हमसे कनेक्शन खत्म हो गया था आपका। इस सत्र में सभी प्रतिभागियों ने अपना शोध पेपर प्रस्तुत कर चुके हैं। अब मैं आपसे सादर अनुरोध करती हूँ कि आप अध्यक्षीय उद्बोधन देके प्रतिभागियों के जो पेपर प्रस्तुत किया उनका उत्साहवर्धन करें, आशीर्वचन प्रदान करें। प्रोफेसर नीरू मिश्रा मैडम। आवाज नहीं है मैडम, आपका माइक म्यूट है। आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
मेरा माइक ऑन है
जी ठीक मैडम, आवाज आने लगी।
हाँ, बल्कि मुझे पूरे एक चीज मैं व्यक्त करना चाहूंगी। मैंने आजाद जी को भी बताया कि पूरे पेपर्स में बहुत अच्छी क्लैरिटी के साथ नहीं सुन सकी क्योंकि मुझे वॉल्यूम बहुत कम आ रहा था, जबकि मेरा फ़ोन का। और मैं अपनी असमर्थता भी व्यक्त करती हूँ कि मैं इस वक्त हरिद्वार में हूँ और ये जितनी भी डिजिटल डिवाइसेस हैं उनसे दूर हूँ, सिर्फ मोबाइल फ़ोन मेरे पास है, तो उसी में मैं सुन रही थी। और इस वजह से मैं ज़्यादा पूरा अच्छी तरह से वॉल्यूम क्लियर नहीं था तो सुन नहीं पाई। आज का ये जो चौथा सत्र है जो ग्लोबल हेरिटेज कॉन्क्लेव 2022 के अंतर्गत और हेरिटेज सोसाइटी और ICHR प्रेस्टिजियस इंस्टीट्यूशन जो इतिहास के क्षेत्र में है और इतनी शोध वो कराते हैं, उनके साथ में ये इतनी महत्वपूर्ण ऐतिहासिक स्थान पर ये जो कॉन्क्लेव हो रही है कपिलवस्तु में, तो अपने आप में एक बहुत इसका महत्व है। एक it has itself a very significant meaning having it there। और जो बाकी इसका जो टॉपिक है इंटैंजिबल हेरिटेज एंड म्यूजियम स्टडीज, इतना अपने अरस परस जुड़ा हुआ है जो अपने आप में बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है और बहुत आज की डेट में मुझे लगता है कि इस क्षेत्र में और भी काम होना चाहिए। मैं सारे तो नहीं सुन पाई अच्छे से। प्रोफेसर महेश बांगर का मैंने सुना, जो रोल ऑफ रिवर घाट्स इन पीस मेकिंग केस स्टडी ऑफ वाराणसी था। मैंने डॉक्टर अंकिता पाठक का भी सुना, और जो मौर्यकालीन अभिलेख उत्तर प्रदेश के संदर्भ में थे उनका भी मैंने पेपर सुना अच्छे से, बहुत अच्छा था। बहुत कम मैं सुन पाई जो गुजरात, हिस्ट्री ऑफ गुजरात के ऊपर था, बहुत ही इंफॉर्मेटिव था। जो मैंने विजुअल्स देखे बहुत अच्छे थे वो, और क्योंकि मैंने गुजरात में बड़ौदा में काफ़ी समय बिताया है और कच्छ के क्षेत्र में भी मैं काफ़ी गई हूँ, तो मेरे हृदय के बहुत करीब था। काश मैं उसको पूरा अच्छी तरह से सुन पाती। कुछ फ़ोन में प्रॉब्लम है या बैक स्टेज कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, स्टूडियो से मेरे पास आवाज़ अच्छी नहीं आ रही थी। जो लास्ट में पेपर था वो भी मैं बहुत अच्छे से नहीं सुन पाई। मैं अपना इसके लिए मैं अत्यंत खेद प्रकट करती हूँ। आई एम एक्सट्रीमली सॉरी दैट दो आई वॉज फुल्ली प्रेजेंट इन दिस सेशन, बट मैं अच्छे से पूरा ग्रास्प नहीं कर पाई। जो प्रोफेसर महेश ने बनारस के बारे में, वाराणसी के बारे में बताया, it has socio-cultural importance, it has spiritual importance, it has emotional importance. उन्होंने अपनी स्लाइड्स के ज़रिए और अपने वक्तव्य के ज़रिए बहुत अच्छे से उसकी प्रस्तुति करी कि किस तरीके से मोक्ष की आकांक्षा में, मोक्ष की इच्छा के साथ वहाँ पर अपना अंतिम यात्रा का समय जो होता है, भारतीय नहीं, मेरी कुछ यूरोपियन, ईस्ट यूरोपियन देशों के स्कॉलर्स के साथ में बातचीत हुई थी। हमने वहाँ, जब मैं इंडियन काउंसिल फॉर कल्चरल रिलेशंस में मैं काम करती थी, इंडोलॉजी की कॉन्फ्रेंसेस कराए थे, वहाँ पर कुछ स्कॉलर्स ने इस बात का मुझे जिक्र किया कि वहाँ पर इस बात की बहुत अभिलाषा रहती है कुछ यूरोपियंस में भी कि हम वाराणसी जाएं और अपना अंतिम समय वहाँ पे बिताएं। रिसर्च जो करते हैं ज्योतिष के क्षेत्र में खास तौर से वो, और उसके अलावा जो संस्कृत पढ़ने के जो स्कॉलर्स हैं वो वहाँ पर रहते हुए इस तरीके से हृदय परिवर्तन उनका हो जाता है कि वो वहाँ अपना अंतिम समय गुजारना चाहते हैं। प्रोफेसर महेश also mentioned about the importance of each ghat associated, closely associated with the festivities, with the festivals. ये अपने आप में एक बहुत ही आश्चर्यजनक बात है जो भारत के संदर्भ में है कि ऐसे घाट हैं जो फेस्टिवल के साथ में जुड़े हुए हैं। मैं ऋषिकेश और हरिद्वार और प्रयाग, जहाँ जो मेरा पढ़ाई का जहाँ पे मेरा स्थान रहा है, इलाहाबाद विश्वविद्यालय से मैंने अपना डीफिल और मास्टर्स किया था, वहाँ पर भी जो घाट है वहाँ पर भी इस इम्पोर्टेंस को मैंने नहीं देखा जो आज प्रोफेसर महेश ने वाराणसी के घाटों के बारे में बताया। अंकिता पाठक जी ने जो मौर्यकालीन अभिलेख के एक विवरण उन्होंने दिए, एक स्थान का जो बस्ती से शुरू करके उन्होंने मेरठ तक हर स्थान का जो विवरण दिया, वो अत्यंत सराहनीय है। और उस शोध को अगर वो और आगे बढ़ाएं, और उन्होंने खास तौर से 2-3 हिस्टोरियंस, स्कॉलर्स, एमिनेंट स्कॉलर्स, डिस्टिंग्विश्ड स्कॉलर्स का जिक्र किया। कुछ और भी उसके बारे में अगर वो उसमें और अपने शोध पत्र में आगे शामिल करें और लोगों का उस पर रिफ्लेक्शंस क्या है, खास तौर से आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट के दृष्टिकोण से, तो उसमें थोड़ा सा उनको और मदद मिलेगी। इतिहास एक चीज़ है, आर्कियोलॉजी एक चीज़ है, और उससे निकले हुए जो आइकॉन्स हैं, जो आइकनोग्राफी है उसकी, जो म्यूजियम स्टडीज़ के लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंस रखता है, तो वो भी एक क्षेत्र है। और इन तीनों के बगैर, जैसे प्रोफेसर कार्ल खंडेलवाल भारत के बहुत मशहूर आर्ट हिस्टोरियंस थे, उनका नेशनल म्यूजियम में मैंने जब पहला लेक्चर सुना तो उनका पहला सेंटेंस था, देयर इज़ नो हिस्ट्री विदाउट आर्ट हिस्ट्री। तो आइकॉन्स या आर्किटेक्चर या टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर या मॉन्यूमेंटल आर्किटेक्चर या आइकनोग्राफी अपने आप में एक महत्व रखती है, इतिहास को साक्ष्य देने के लिए एक उसकी आई विटनेस है वो, कि उस वक्त कौन सी कला कौन से शासन की उसमें अभिव्यक्ति दिखाई पड़ती है। तो आर्ट हिस्ट्री के जरिए हम हिस्ट्री को पुख्ता कर सकते हैं। हो सकता है कभी कभी हिस्ट्री जो है वो कोर्ट हिस्टोरियंस के द्वारा लिखी गई हो, लेकिन जो उसकी आर्ट है वो उसका रिफ्लेक्शन देती है। उसका मेसनरी वर्क क्या था, आर्टिसंस का रिफ्लेक्शन क्या था, उनकी मनोवृत्ति क्या थी, पेट्रनेज जो थी, पेट्रन्स जो थे उनकी इन्फ्लुएंसेस क्या थी, या कई बारी कारीगर की, काम करने वालों की अपनी उसमें सहमति क्या थी, उनको इनोवेशंस के लिए, उनको अपनी पर्सनल अभिव्यक्ति प्रकट करने के लिए कितनी फ्रीडम थी। ये भी एक उस वक्त का जो एक सोशल फैब्रिक है, एक कल्चरल फैब्रिक है, उसको हमारे करीब लाता है और वो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण होता है। जो लास्ट के 2 थे, मैं अपनी उसमें बताती हूँ कि मैं अच्छे से उसको नहीं सुन पाई, बट मैं एक बार फिर से सबकी सराहना करती हूँ और हेरिटेज सोसाइटी का, विश्वविद्यालय का और ICHR का तहे दिल से बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ और बहुत उनको विशेस देती हूँ कि इतने इम्पोर्टेंट इशू के ऊपर ये एक पेंडेमिक का एक जो भय अभी भी व्याप्त है और पेंडेमिक गुजर भी चुका है, हाइब्रिड मोड में और फिजिकल मोड में इस कॉन्फ्रेंस को करने का जो उन्होंने साहस किया है, एक दृढ़ स्टेप जो लिया है, वो अत्यंत सराहनीय है। और आगे भी आगामी सत्र जो होंगे बहुत ही सफलता से होंगे। उसके साथ मैं आप सबको फिर से शुभकामनाएं देते हुए अपना आभार प्रकट करती हूँ और अपना धन्यवाद देती हूँ। थैंक यू सो मच।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैडम। इस तकनीकी सत्र की अध्यक्षता कर रही मैडम प्रोफेसर नीरू मिश्रा मैडम। आपने अभी बताया कि आप कहीं बाहर हैं, जिसकी वजह से आप बहुत ठीक से हमसे जुड़ नहीं पाई, बावजूद इसके आप लगातार हमसे जुड़ी रही और जिन शोधार्थियों के शोध पत्र आपने सुने, जो कमेंट्स आपने दिए, निश्चित रूप से उनके लिए एक मार्गदर्शन का कार्य करेगा और इससे उनको आगे के लिए प्रेरणा मिलेगी कि आगे वो और अच्छा कैसे काम कर सकें। दुर्भाग्य से मैं भी 2 पार्टिसिपेंट के बाद आई, तो आपने जो सुना उसको मैं नहीं सुन पाई। बाद के 2 पार्टिसिपेंट जो थे मैडम डॉक्टर शेफालिका अवस्थी और तनुश्री मैडम का मैंने पूरा देखा। शेफालिका जी का प्रेजेंटेशन जो कक्ष पे था, म्यूजियम का पूरा प्रेजेंटेशन आपने किया था, बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन रहा और उसके माध्यम से जो आज का थीम था इस तकनीकी सत्र का, बहुत अच्छे से प्रेजेंट करके मैडम ने जो प्रस्तुतिकरण दिया। निश्चित रूप से ये हमारी विरासत हमें अपनी संस्कृति, अपने भारतीय धर्म दर्शन को समझने के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है कि हम सभी जानते हैं कि भारतीय परंपरा, भारतीय संस्कृति बहुत जटिल वैविध्य युक्त है, जिसे हम किसी निश्चित धर्म, प्रजाति या किसी सीमा में बांध नहीं सकते हैं। इसलिए ये जो सम्मेलन हो रहा है, इसके कई सत्रों में भारतीय विरासत के सभी पहलुओं को एक एक पक्ष पर बल देने पे और नवीन तथ्यों की खोज करने के लिए ये सेमिनार आयोजित किया गया है। ये चतुर्थ तकनीकी सत्र का मुख्य फोकस म्यूजियम और जो अभिलेख थे हमारे, उनके माध्यम से हम अपनी धरोहर, अपनी संस्कृतियों को किस प्रकार से उनमें नए तथ्यों की खोज करके उसको संरक्षित करें और उन चीज़ों को जाने जो अभी तक हमारी दृष्टि से बचे रह गए हैं। यही इसका उद्देश्य था। आपने हमें जो हमारे शोधार्थियों को जो प्रेरणा दी, जो बताया कि कैसे वो और अच्छे से अपने शोध पत्र प्रस्तुत कर सकते हैं, इसके लिए आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। साथ ही
शेफालिका जी को मैं कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट करना चाहूंगी। वो हमारे साथ में व्हाट्सएप का म्यूजियो विजन का ग्रुप है, म्यूजियम एंड हेरिटेज का एक ग्रुप है, उसमें हम जुड़े हुए हैं, तो उनको मैं पर्सनली विश करना चाहती हूँ।
जी मैडम, थैंक यू मैडम। मैडम शेफालिका मैडम यहाँ हैं, आप उनसे अभी स्क्रीन पे।
हेलो, गुड इवनिंग मैम।
Hello, Shefalika ji. I'm closely associated and keep seeing the good work you're doing in Gujarat. I'm in the group Museovision, courtesy Nandan Shastri ji, or Museum and Heritage. So I keep seeing the good work you are doing, and I like to congratulate you and keep in touch with you. आपका presentation PowerPoint जो मैंने देखा बहुत ही अच्छा था और बहुत ही it was very lucid and it was very vivid. इतना विस्तृत आपने इतने छोटे समय में इतना पूरा परिचय दिया आपने ब्राह्मणिकल एंड जैन एंड बुद्धिस्ट जो आइकॉन्स हैं, पर्टिकुलरली धौला वीरा का भी जिक्र किया. Congratulations once again. Keep
Thank
doing
you so
good
much
work.
for the thank you so much for the kind words, ma'am. And I would like to not to ask you, but I would like to invite you that whenever you get a chance, please do visit Kutch and give your inputs. Whereas museum is concerned, yes, I keep seeing your post in Museologist, but I did not realize that you are associated with Indian Council of Cultural Relations. So I'll save your number from there, and definitely I'll be in touch with you and keep
Thank you
seeking the
so much. Thank you.
Thanks for the kind words, ma'am.
आजाद जी.